How you doing? This is Heff.
This is Forrest. Say hey.
And we're coming right at you here with some lightning news about the Kaseya VSA Zero-day vulnerability. We thought it was so important. We just take a few moments just to explain what's going on and what you can do and how to respond to it. If you like us, please hit the like button. Definitely leave a comment. We'll try to respond to you. And Forrest, let's get right into it here. What's going on with this Kaseya thing?
So Kaseya is they are a managed service provider. They provide remote management software, basically allowing IT administrators to do a bunch of stuff remotely, install software, patches, things like that. The problem is they were recently hit with a 0-day vulnerability that that is being used to distribute ransomware en masse.
Yeah, let's step back for just a moment here on this. And before we get too deep, folks, into what's actually going on, we just want to take a moment. A lot of people may not have ever heard that term, MSP, managed service provider. Again, Forrest mentioned that these are the kind of folks that companies you might hire to come into your environment, help manage your IT services, your IT automation, help manage the hardware side of the house. For a lot of people, it's about handling their performance of their network, backups, patch management, auditing, inventory, even NOC type services, network operations center stuff.
Yeah, day-to-day stuff. So, yeah. I mean, boil it down, your outsourced IT, essentially.
And a lot of people, businesses, they're so focused sometimes on price. They're driven by price that they fail to think about the other security parts of when they choose a managed service provider. And as you're going to hear today in our presentation, this is not the first time that Kaseya has been vulnerable before. And
unfortunately not.
And we're going to take you a little bit of history about Kaseya here in just a minute, but that's the issue you want to be concerned about, especially from an IT perspective. IT folks out there, it's about this thing called the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, availability. For most people on the IT side of the house, it's always about availability, keeping the hardware up and running. And for folks like Forrest and I, it's all about security, the confidentiality, the integrity. And before you choose an MSP, that's really a very important piece of the equation. So let's get right into it here, Forrest. This is what caught my attention. I'm Thursday, Friday. I'm watching the news, and I'm sure you saw it.
Yeah. The first indication that I had was actually from a friend in a different SOC posting a meme about wanting to enjoy the holiday weekend, and then in comes a ransomware attack, and I was like, oh no. Here we go.
Nope. And then, folks, we'll put up on the screen right now. This is the post that Revil, who is allegedly being attributed to this attack. Revil is a ransomware as a service company. So Sunday, they posted on their blog this exact image that you're seeing right here. They said they launched an attack on Friday. They said that more than 1 million systems infected. If anyone wants to negotiate, it's about some Bitcoins, about $45,000 is what it translates to. But Forrest,
yeah, I'm not sure how they're breaking that down. The 45,000, is that like per organization?
Yeah.
Like, because if they're doing it by 1 million devices affected, that's okay. Now we're talking like 45 billion,
right?
Like, okay, that's, I don't know. There's something funky with the math, and I guess maybe the 70 million is just the buy it now price, and then they're just doing it piecemeal one-off. I don't know.
The story, though, is in the news. If you watch the news, it's about the media is claiming about 800 to 1,500 businesses have been impacted. What's important, though, is to understand the way that Revil works and the fact that they're claiming over 1 million systems are infected. So that's the issue, folks. And when you try to dive into this and you try to look at the full story, it's bad. It's probably, Forrest, I'd say it's probably the worst vulnerability that we've ever seen, bigger than SolarWinds, bigger than Microsoft. And there's a lot of lessons learned to be had from this. But
yeah. The extent of the damage is pretty widespread. Yeah, you hear Kaseya throwing around figures like 50 to 60 of our direct clients are affected. But then there's like the 1,500 companies figure. Well, a lot of those were themselves managed service providers.
Right.
So that trickles out to, this massive concentration
it's bigger. It's way bigger than they're claiming in the media.
Yeah. So it's, heck, I've had to do incident response on, I'm not going to say how many, but it's been a busy. It's been busy.
Yeah, it's not easy, definitely being in SOC. And we have clients that have been impacted by this and trying to notify them. And obviously, that's part of the challenge when an attacker knows it's the holiday, it's the summer months, the IT people are going on vacation just like everyone else does. And they know, the hackers know, the bad guys know that people aren't in the office right now. So trying to get a hold of folks that are not in the office on vacation, and if they don't have that phone shard built out, and trying to get a hold of people that are not in the building, that makes it a lot challenging to try to even just notify them of what's going on. So, but Forrest, our story goes back to about 2017 with Kaseya. This is not the first time.
Nope.
And that's what gets us so upset about stuff like this is 2017. And if you go on the web, you can find this. We've actually included a screenshot. It's pretty blurry. I don't know if we'll put it up or not. But so Kaseya had vulnerabilities going farther back than just this past year. And that what a lot of bad guys are doing is they're using malware, Bitcoin mining malware in their environment, Forrest. And they've actually had now 2 cases, Kaseya has. Before we even get into 2021 today, back in 2017, there was some Litecoin mining malware. And they put out some patches and hot fixes for this. Then you fast forward in time, and we will definitely include the link to this YouTube video that was put out talking about their 2018 exploit. And again, Kaseya VSA, these vulnerabilities were exploited for crypto mining. And this one was Monero.
Yep.
And fascinatingly, I mean, the way this attack happened, it was a PowerShell script. It was launched from a command line, downloaded from Dropbox. They didn't block Dropbox. There was no block list for Dropbox back then. And that's how the bad guy was able to get in their environment. I mean, it's not just having the information on the payload, but it's what bothersome, Forrest, is this is not the first time.
Yeah. And even after these 2 incidents in 2017, 2018, 2019, they were able to secure $500 million in funding on a valuation of $2 billion. Yeah, they got $500 million after these breaches and continued to chug forward as successful as ever. And fast forward to today, 2021. I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I won't be fooled again.
Fool me 3 times, folks. 3 times.
Pull a Bushism, but it's not the best. And man, I do try to have a little bit of empathy for Kaseya. Apparently, this vulnerability had been disclosed to them by white hats to I think it was the Dutch Institute for Vulnerability Disclosure, and they were actively working on a patch for it when this hit and got exploited. So really crappy timing. Sucks to be them. But I mean, regardless, third time's a charm. I don't know. Hopefully, this is gonna they'll use some of that $500 million to do some introspection.
All right. First, we should explain to the audience exactly what's going on, and essentially what you're seeing is this is considered a supply chain attack, very similar in the same vein as SolarWinds. What actually happened was Revil, again being attributed by it, it's a ransomware as a service. They were able to get into the Kaseya environment. Any organization that's running Kaseya, their VSA, which is their virtual system administrator, is potentially impacted by this. Completely geographically dispersed. It's not just the United States being impacted by this. Happened on Friday was when the first official announcement came out. And what the attackers were able to do is use a 0-day vulnerability to get access to their internet-facing VSA servers. So once that happens, once the bad guy gets in your environment, they're able to do privileged access.
Yeah. At that point, the exploit is allowing them to run whatever they want at system privileges. It's pretty nasty stuff. It's kind of ironic that the very thing that is supposed to help keep you safe and help install patches and updates and make sure that everything's in a smooth running machine is then exploited to set everything on fire. So
there's definitely a noticeable shift, and it's been happening for quite some time now, folks, but there's a notable shift in attacks on perimeter devices in recent years. That's never going to go away. It's these vulnerabilities, though, that are in these internet-facing devices is really the concern. Once you get in and you can compromise a large number of systems all at once, I mean, it is definitely game over. So, Forrest, there's this high level of trust, though. When you hire an MSP, your expectation is they are not the ones that are going to get breached.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening, Forrest.
Yeah. And a lot of people take the approach of, trying to hide amongst the school of fish. You put yourself in a big enough pool, hopefully you won't get targeted. Unfortunately, it seems that now by putting yourself in that pool, you're making yourself a juicier target, especially when these kinds of exploitations can happen en masse.
So Forrest and the audience at home, we've got a video for you. It's about 1:48 long. We're going to insert that right now. The video is from our friends at Sophos, and they actually show you how and what Reveal ransomware looks like when it gets activated here as part of the Kaseya VSA vulnerability. So take a look.
Hey there, my name is Mark Lohman of Sophos. In this quick demonstration that I perform on an unprotected Windows 10 machine, I am manually executing the ransomware attack command issued by the Reveal ransomware adversary via the Kaseya's Virtual System Administrator service. I have several PDF documents installed on this machine. In the attack, the malicious base64 encoded agent.crt file was copied onto the machine via the Kaseya Agent Monitor software. The Kaseya software ran the following command, disabling Microsoft Defender protection, decoding and executing the ransomware. When the data on the machine is encrypted, so essentially your data has been taken hostage, the wallpaper is reset to show a ransom notice. As you can see, all my PDF documents have become encrypted. Opening the ransom note reveals what happened and includes instructions to recover the encrypted files. The victims are asked to visit a website where they can enter the key from the ransom note. After entering the key, the decryptor price is shown, which was typically $45,000 to be paid in the Monero cryptocurrency.
So Forrest, there's a lot of indicators of compromise out there, way beyond the scope of what we have time to go over today. But we do want to leave you with a few other notes. One area that you need to be concerned about is what other threat actors are doing is they are looking for backdoors. They are actually putting out phishing emails. You need to be aware of that in your environment. If you get a fake Kaseya VSA, hey, there's a security update available. That's not legit if it doesn't look legit. So be aware of that. Yeah. But what can you do, Forrest, in your environment?
First and foremost, put any kind of like sensitive services behind a VPN, please. All of this exploitation is happening because these machines were exposed to the internet. While being able to use these remote administration tools over the internet is very it's a requirement, in a lot of places, especially in the day and age of COVID. A lot of people working remotely. Of course, you need it accessible, but at least put that firewall in front of it where you have to jump through the authentication hoops and you have a single device that is dedicated to gatekeeping. Another thing you can do, enable multi-factor auth. Like that's 100% anywhere you can. You should be doing this wherever possible. And secondly, or thirdly, I guess, enabling allow listing. So where you're explicitly defining what is allowed to communicate where. You're not just letting a machine talk to anything on the internet. I've seen so many cases where allow any to the internet. That just makes me cringe. So yeah, definitely tightening that down to, okay, I'm expecting that this is going to be communicating with only these things.
Yeah. We do need to mention that there is a Kaseya VSA detection tool available. There's a lot of information out there. We'll include links to the CISA website, the FBI's website, and a lot of other places that are very helpful. We should also mention, as of the time of this video, there are no patches available, but they are working on getting the patches available for this. But there's a lot of things you could do, folks. And just an awareness is half the battle that's going on out there. And definitely take some time. We will include all the links. And as always, we're grateful that you could join us. We are SecurityMetrics. We help protect small businesses, and we do it at a very low cost. So excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a bunch. Take care.